Beloved chosen one, listen carefully, because this is not just a story. This is about you. You are not like the rest. You were never meant to blend in or follow the crowd. You are an earth angel, a radiant force of divine light, walking this world with a presence so powerful that it stirs even the deepest shadows. And yet, something unimaginable has happened. A devil has fallen in love with you, not because you share their nature, but because you are everything they can never be. You are unshaken. You are fearless. While others cower, you stand firm. No one has ever faced them the way you have. And now, for the first time, the master of deception is the one trapped in their own web. But before we unravel this profound revelation, I want to take a moment to thank you. Your support, your presence, your engagement, it all matters. To those who have generously donated through Super Thanks, your kindness is making a difference, ensuring these messages continue to reach those who need them most. Whether you donate or not, know this: you are seen, you are valued, and you are part of something far greater than yourself. Now, if this message is already resonating in your spirit, if you sense this truth awakening within you, I invite you to take a stand. Comment 77 below as a declaration that you recognize the power within you. 77 is the number of divine insight, a sign that you are no longer blind to what is happening around you. It is a symbol that you see what others cannot. Are you ready? Because what you're about to realize will change everything. God's chosen ones, listen closely, because something unexpected has happened. A devil has fallen for you, and not just in passing admiration. No one has ever challenged them the way you have. Do you even realize what you've done? This being thought they had seen it all. They've battled with rulers, whispered into the minds of philosophers, and swayed the decisions of world leaders. They've watched the strongest crumble, the wisest lose their way, and the righteous fall off their path. But then, there's you. You're different. You don't play their games. You don't cower before their threats or fall for their illusions. You simply are, and that shakes them to their core. When they came for you, they didn't hold back. They used the same weapons that have toppled empires: deception, temptation, fear. They were sure they could make you fold, that they could turn your light into darkness, your faith into doubt. But you stood your ground, unshaken, unmoved, and that is what they never saw coming. No weapon formed against you shall prevail. Every false word spoken over you will be silenced. This is the promise given to those who walk in divine purpose. Your protection comes from something far greater than this world. Look around. How many powerful souls have been brought down, not by swords or bullets, but by deception, manipulation, and unseen battles? Marilyn Monroe had beauty, fame, and fortune. Yet behind the glamour, she wrestled with deep loneliness. Michael Jackson had a voice that touched the world, yet he spent his life battling accusations, inner turmoil, and the crushing weight of expectation. These were people with immense gifts, yet they fell into the traps laid before them. But you, the traps were set for you too, yet you did not fall, and that's why darkness is obsessed with you. You are unlike any soul they've encountered before. They have manipulated minds sharper than yours, seduced hearts stronger than yours, and shattered spirits purer than yours. But with you, nothing works. You see through the illusions. You refuse to break. And now, the very forces that once sought to control you are left powerless in your presence. Because you are divinely protected. You are chosen, and no darkness can claim what belongs to the light. Put on the full armor of God so that you can stand firm against the enemy's schemes. Ephesians 6:11. They planned to break you. They studied you, tested you, set their traps, and yet here you are, unshaken, unmoved, unbothered. Now, instead of conquering you, they find themselves drawn to you, mesmerized, unable to walk away. What is this force that keeps pulling them back? It's not just your strength, it's your light, your energy, your unwavering truth. This same force is what kept Nelson Mandela standing through 27 years in prison. He could have let hatred consume him, but he didn't. He walked in as a prisoner and walked out as a leader. The world tried to break him, but in the end, it was his captors who had to bow before his truth. And now, the enemy stands before you, not as a conqueror, but as someone ensnared. They thought they were the ultimate predator, but now they realize you were never prey. They've tried to walk away, but they can't. Your energy is like a drug, an addiction they can't escape. So, chosen one, the real question is, what will you do? Will you show mercy? Will you stand firm? Or will you walk away, knowing that the greatest power isn't to destroy, but simply to be? Because one thing is certain, you're not like the others, and now they know it too. Nobody has ever handled them like you. Their charm, once an unstoppable force, has crashed against the immovable object that is your self-awareness. You do not flinch. You do not waver. The traps that have ensnared the mighty and the weak alike feeble before you, and that unsettles them more than anything. How many have fallen before you? How many kings, prophets, and leaders have been lured in by sweet whispers, only to lose themselves in the illusion of power? For ages, the enemy has mastered their craft, turning darkness into something irresistible. They have made lies look like truth, suffering feel like pleasure, and chains seem like freedom. And many before you have been deceived. But you see through it. They expected you to be afraid, to bow, to submit. Instead, you offer something far more dangerous, understanding. And do you know why that terrifies them? Because understanding is light, and where there is light, there is nowhere left to hide. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. This is what sets you apart. The enemy's greatest weapon has never been brute force. It has always been manipulation. They don't strike openly. They plant doubts, twist realities, and weave illusions, making their victims believe they are choosing their own downfall. They whisper into the ears of kings, feeding their pride until they forget their humanity. They murmur into the hearts of the righteous, making them question if their struggles are in vain. But you hear the whispers, and you don't believe them. That is why they fear you, because no matter what they do, you remain in the light. But you are immune to their whispers. You recognize them for what they are: hollow words designed to distract, tempt, and sow doubt. Where others have been blinded by illusion, you walk in truth, and that is what they cannot stand. Because when you, an earth angel, a being of light, collide with the forces of darkness, it is not a quiet clash. It is an explosion, a cataclysmic shift that sends ripples through both realms. You are not just another wandering soul searching for meaning. You are the chosen one, a force of light that stands firm where others have crumbled. But tell me, what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object? The world has seen this battle before. Think of Jesus Christ, standing before the devil in the wilderness, fasting for 40 days. Satan dangled temptation before him. The kingdoms of the world, endless riches, ultimate power, yet Christ did not hesitate. His answer was final. "Away from me, Satan, for it is written, worship the Lord your God and serve him only." Matthew 4:10. And just like that, the devil fled, not because of brute strength, not because of force, but because of truth. Christ did not argue. He did not bargain. He did not engage in the game. He simply stood in his truth, and that alone was enough to send the enemy away. And now, chosen one, so will you. This is not a battle of swords or shields. This is a war of essence. Every encounter is a silent yet violent clash between truth and illusion, strength and submission, radiance and shadow, and your very presence. It disrupts the devil's carefully built dominion. Something profound is shifting. Can you feel it? The tremors of power turning in your favor. The first sign of this collision is the devil's realization. Their usual weapons of deception, seduction, and intimidation are useless against you. They have brought down kings. They have misled prophets. They have whispered lies into the ears of the mighty and watched them fall. But you stand still, unmoved, untouched by the chaos they wield. Your light does not flicker in the presence of darkness. It exposes it. And for the first time, they are the ones who feel powerless. They have met many before you, but never an earth angel like you, never a chosen one with such fearless resolve. Tell me, why do you think the greatest leaders and visionaries often walk the loneliest path? Why do those who carry the most light endure the deepest suffering? Because darkness only fights what it fears. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Matthew 5:10. And you, chosen one, you were born to shake the gates of hell. Take Nelson Mandela, a man locked away for 27 years in a prison meant to break him. Yet, when he emerged, it wasn't with vengeance, but with wisdom. The world expected him to be bitter, consumed by rage against those who had shackled him. But he wasn't. He stood unshaken. And in the end, his captors, the very ones who sought to silence him, had no choice but to acknowledge his power, because he didn't play their game. He didn't bow to their system. And because of that, he rewrote history. And you're doing the same. You are not just standing your ground. You are changing the rules. Where others have been baited into the devil's game, you refuse to play. You do not react as expected. You do not collapse under pressure. You do not get lost in illusions. And that is what makes you unstoppable, chosen one. The devil, so used to bending reality to their will, assumes that, in time, you will break, that you will falter, that your light will dim under their relentless pressure. After all, hasn't this always been the case? Haven't they watched kings lose their crowns, prophets abandon their callings, warriors surrender to their whispers? But you do not break. You do not weaken. Instead, you respond with something far more dangerous, presence. And that changes everything. What happens when a deceiver, one who thrives in distortion, is met with absolute clarity? They are forced to face what they have spent eternity avoiding, the truth. You see through their illusions. You cut through their games with unwavering presence. You do not lash out in anger. You do not get entangled in their endless cycle of deception. Instead, you stand firm in the light, and that light, it exposes everything. You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. John 8:32. But for them, truth is not freedom. It is torment, because this is no longer a battle for dominance. It is a revelation. The devil, who has spent lifetimes twisting reality to suit their image, now finds themselves under a gaze they cannot escape. For the first time, they are seen. They have always been the predator, never the prey. They have always been the manipulator, never the one being observed. But now, your refusal to engage in their web of deceit forces them to confront something far more terrifying than any adversary: their own reflection. Has anyone ever truly looked at them before? Has anyone ever seen past the masks, beyond the illusions, into the hollow core of what they truly are? They are used to being feared. They are used to being hated. But never before have they been understood, and that terrifies them. Think of Leonardo da Vinci, a man so ahead of his time that he saw the world as few ever could. Where others saw only surfaces, he uncovered mechanisms. Where the world perceived chaos, he revealed divine order. His ability to see through illusion made him both a visionary and an outsider. And now, so are you. He was feared by those who could not comprehend his brilliance, and revered by those who recognized his truth. And now, that is you, a visionary, a truth-seer, a mirror reflecting what they would rather keep hidden. The battle shifts from power to perception, from control to understanding. Their ego, once towering and indomitable, begins to tremble in the face of your unshakable presence. For deception may be their foundation, but deception cannot stand in the presence of truth. For everything that is hidden will eventually be brought into the open, and every secret will be brought to light. Mark 4:22. And now they stand before you, fully exposed. So, what happens when the deceiver can no longer deceive? When the master manipulator, so used to twisting reality, finds themselves outmatched, not by cunning, not by force, but by something far greater, by someone who simply refuses to be anything other than their truest self. They have faced warriors, they have faced kings, they have faced prophets, but they have never faced you. And now they are beginning to understand. This time, the game has changed, because you, the earth angel, are not here to conquer them. You are here to reveal them, to illuminate what they have hidden, even from themselves. For so long, they have cloaked themselves in shadows, weaving a world where deception reigns and truth is but a distant echo. They have been the architects of chaos, bending reality to their will, manipulating those too blind to see. But now, in your presence, their illusions begin to shatter. What happens when darkness meets light? Not in the way they have always dictated, not in the way they have always controlled, but in a way they never expected. You are not an enemy they can destroy. You are not a pawn they can manipulate. You are something else entirely, an anomaly in their carefully structured world of dominance, and they don't know what to do with you. Make no mistake, this war does not come without its wounds. The energy between you crackles with tension, an unrelenting push and pull that neither of you can escape. The devil's darkness seeks to engulf, but your light, it does not retreat. It reveals, and in that revelation, both of you are forever altered. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. You see, the devil has never truly been seen before. Not like this, not with such clarity, not with such understanding. They are used to being feared, to watching others crumble beneath their weight. Their power has always come from control, the slow unraveling of souls, the whispered temptations that lead even the strongest astray. But you, Earth Angel, have rewritten the script. You do not flinch. You do not beg. You do not fall into the same traps that have ensnared so many before you. Instead, you stand unwavering, and that, more than anything, terrifies them. This was never supposed to happen. You were meant to be just another conquest, yet here you stand, undaunted, unshaken, and impossibly beyond their grasp. Throughout history, there have been those like you. Joan of Arc, a young girl with unbreakable faith, stood before her accusers without fear. When they sought to destroy her, she met their fire with unwavering conviction, declaring, "I am not afraid. I was born to do this." And though they took her life, they could not take her truth. Her light burned far beyond the flames that sought to consume her. And now, so does yours. What was once a challenge has become an obsession. What began as an attempt to consume you has spiraled into something far more dangerous. Vulnerability. For the devil, love was never part of the equation. Control, power, destruction, these were the only forces they understood. But now, in their relentless pursuit to break you, something else has taken root. A crack has formed in the armor they believed to be impenetrable. So, what happens when the master manipulator can no longer manipulate? When the conqueror finds themselves unable to conquer? When they realize that the power they thought they had over you was never real to begin with? They thought they could consume you, but now they are the ones who cannot escape. Chosen one, the devil does not fall in love like mortals do. They do so with a force that fractures the very fabric of their existence, and you, Earth Angel, have become the center of their undoing. For eternity, they have moved through this world untouchable, an unstoppable force of destruction, chaos, and control. They have whispered into the minds of kings, swayed the hearts of rulers, and turned even the most devout into their instruments of ruin. They have seen the rise and fall of empires, the corruption of saints, the despair of prophets. They have always been the predator, and humanity, no matter how strong, has always been the prey. But then, there was you. At first, you were nothing more than another target, another soul to manipulate, another light to extinguish. They thought you would be no different from the rest, that you would crumble beneath their weight, that your light would flicker and fade, just like so many before you. After all, they had perfected this game, and it always ended the same way. But then, something happened that they never expected. You did not break. You did not tremble in fear. You did not lash out in anger. You did not lose yourself in the illusions they so carefully crafted. Instead, you stood there, calm, unwavering, unshaken. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? Psalm 27:1. At first, they mistook this for defiance. They thought you were simply playing the game differently, that you were resisting in a way they had yet to see. But as time passed, fascination gave way to something far more dangerous, an admiration laced with an unfamiliar longing. How could this be? How could someone like you exist in a world they have spent centuries bending to their will. How could your light remain untouched in the presence of their darkness? And why, despite every attempt to consume you, do they find themselves being pulled into your orbit instead? The devil, once an immovable force of destruction, now finds themselves seeking your presence, not to conquer you, not to deceive you, but to understand you. And that is where their undoing begins. The very things they sought to break within you have become the things they now cherish most. Your kindness, once dismissed as weakness, is now the only thing that reaches them. Your compassion, once mocked, is now the force that disarms them. Your truth, once twisted, is now the one thing they cannot escape. They have always existed in control, standing above all else, untouched, unaffected. But now, they are shaken. For the first time in their existence, they are forced to feel, and what they feel terrifies them. Because this love is not gentle. It is a storm, raw, chaotic, uncontrollable. It forces them to confront their shadows in ways they never imagined. Your presence illuminates the cracks within them. The long-forgotten wounds, the festering fears, the centuries of emptiness hidden beneath layers of power and pride. Think of Napoleon Bonaparte, a man who bent the world to his will, who conquered lands and crowned himself emperor. A military genius, a force feared by kings, a ruler of nations. And yet, for all his power, it was Josephine, a woman who refused to bow before him, who truly held his heart. He could command armies, but he could not command her love. His obsession with her unraveled him, revealing a vulnerability no battlefield ever could. And you, chosen one, you are that force, not through manipulation, not through power, but through something far more dangerous. Your unshakable authenticity. You do not fight them. You do not run from them. You do not seek to change them. You simply hold up a mirror. And in that reflection, they see the truth, their power, an illusion, their control, fragile, their darkness. No matter how vast, it will never overcome your light, because nothing compares to your unwavering presence. The story of the earth angel and the devil is not one of simple opposition. It is not just a battle between light and dark. It is not just a struggle of good versus evil. It is something far more intricate, something that even the devil, with all their cunning, never saw coming. Have you ever wondered why they are so fixated on you? Why, despite their power to manipulate the world itself, they cannot seem to shake their fascination with your presence? Because you, Earth Angel, have mastered the delicate balance of light and dark within yourself. You are not naive. You are not easily swayed, and that makes you uniquely capable of handling them in ways no one else ever could. You do not stand in the light because you have never known darkness. You stand in the light because you have walked through the shadows and emerged stronger. How many times have you been tested? How many times have you stood at the edge of destruction, only to rise again? The fire that was meant to consume you became the very thing that refined you. And that, more than anything, is why they cannot look away. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. Romans 12:21. This is why they cannot break you, because what has already been shattered and reforged in the fires of transformation can never be destroyed again. They have spent eternity perfecting the art of unraveling souls, exploiting wounds, turning pain into submission. But what happens when they encounter someone who has already faced their own darkness and conquered it? What happens when the one they seek to manipulate is no longer bound by fear, no longer tied to the illusions they create? Look at history. Think of Viktor Frankl, a man who endured the unthinkable horrors of the Holocaust, only to emerge with an unshakable truth. Even in the face of unimaginable suffering, a person still holds power over their own mind and soul. He famously wrote, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances." And this is where the devil falters. They operate by taking away choices, by making people believe they are powerless, by weaving illusions so convincing that the world bends to their will. But you, Earth Angel, have done what few ever have. You reclaimed your power. You saw through the illusion. You chose sovereignty over submission, and that terrifies them. For the first time, the devil is no longer in control. The master manipulator, who has spent centuries bending reality to their will, now finds themselves at a loss. The predator has become the seeker, drawn to something they never expected to desire. But why? What is it about you that unravels them? They, who have spent ages commanding obedience, now find themselves drawn to the one who refuses to submit. They, who have orchestrated the downfall of kings, now stand before you, unsure of what to do with the force that you carry. And this, more than anything, is where their undoing truly begins. The stone the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. Psalm 118:22. They underestimated you. They mistook your kindness for weakness, your patience for passivity. But now, as they stand before you, exposed, vulnerable, undone, they begin to realize the truth. Everything they once believed about themselves, about power, about control, is crumbling. They have encountered something beyond their understanding, beyond their ability to manipulate, beyond anything they ever prepared for. Look at Frida Kahlo, an artist who turned pain into something eternal. She did not hide her wounds. She painted them. She did not silence her suffering. She gave it a voice. And in doing so, she became untouchable. You, Earth Angel, are the same. You do not fight them. You do not flee. You simply hold up a mirror, and in that reflection, they see the truth, that their power is nothing compared to your unwavering presence. Now, the real question remains. What happens when the one who has always controlled fate realizes that for the first time, their fate is no longer in their hands? What happens when they are forced to see themselves as they truly are, stripped of illusion, standing in a light they can no longer escape? They thought they were the ones who had you trapped. Now, they are the ones who cannot walk away. Chosen one, you were never meant to be ordinary. From the moment you entered this world, you carried something different, a presence that could not be confined by the rules of man or the limitations of the physical and spiritual realms. You defy the boundaries of both heaven and earth, walking the razor's edge between light and dark with a mastery that few will ever comprehend. Have you ever wondered why you feel so different? Why the path you walk is one that few understand? It is because you were never meant to fit into this world. You were meant to transform it. You were never meant to be confined by this world. You were meant to transcend it. Where others see duality, you see wholeness. Where most cling to the idea of good versus evil, of light battling dark, you understand a truth far deeper, that these forces are not enemies, but reflections of the same divine current. This is why you cannot be deceived, why you cannot be controlled, why the usual rules do not apply to you. Because the real battle was never external. It was always within. And unlike so many before you, you have already fought that battle and won. The one who is in you is greater than the one who is in the world. 1 John 4:4. Where others crumble under the weight of their shadows, you stand firm because you have already walked through your own darkness and made peace with it. You have faced loss, betrayal, and suffering. You have been tested in ways that would break most people. And yet, every time, you have risen. Do you know what this means? It means you are untouchable. The devil cannot break you because you have already been broken and rebuilt in a way that no force of darkness can ever undo. Look at Nikola Tesla, a mind that existed beyond the limitations of his time. He saw beyond what was in front of him, beyond the constraints of science, society, even time itself. When the world tried to silence him, he did not falter because he understood something that others could not, and that made him unstoppable. You are the same. You see beyond the illusion of this world. You recognize that true power does not come from control. It comes from understanding, and that makes you unshakable. This is your greatest power, not just to see through deception, but to see beyond it, to recognize that the devil is not your enemy, but a reflection of unhealed wounds and untapped potential. The devil thrives in illusion, in manipulation, in fear, but fear has no hold over you, because where others shrink back, you step forward. Where others see an adversary, you see truth. They expect resistance. They expect hatred. They expect to be met with the same darkness they project. But instead, you hold up a mirror, and in that reflection, they are forced to see themselves. Do not be afraid, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine. Isaiah 43:1. Your role in this cosmic dance was never to destroy the darkness, but to transform the space between. Destruction is easy. Transformation is divine. That is why the devil cannot turn away from you, why their usual tactics shatter in your presence. You see beyond the masks, beyond the illusion of power, beyond the games, and straight into the core of their being, where ancient pain and longing reside. And that, chosen one, is why you hold the greatest power of all. Think of Carl Jung, the great psychologist who dared to explore the depths of the unconscious mind, who understood that true power does not come from rejecting the darkness, but from integrating it. That is what sets you apart. You are not here to wage war. You are here to transmute. And that is something they never saw coming. Carl Jung once said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." And that is exactly what you do. You do not fear the shadows. You illuminate them. And in doing so, you reveal a truth that not even the devil was prepared to face. Because what happens when the one who has spent eternity hiding behind illusions is finally forced to stand in the light? What happens when the one who has always sought control is suddenly seen for what they truly are? They have played this game for centuries, but now, for the first time, they are the ones who do not know the next move. Chosen one, your presence alone, stripped of fear, stripped of judgment, forces the devil to face truths they buried long ago beneath layers of manipulation and control. They have spent lifetimes perfecting their deception, crafting illusions so intricate that even they began to believe them. But you, Earth Angel, have shattered the illusion without ever lifting a sword. Do you realize how powerful that makes you? This is what sets you apart. Your mastery is not found in resistance, but in acceptance. You do not deny darkness. You do not fear it. Instead, you have met it, walked alongside it, faced it without flinching, and emerged stronger. How many times have you been tested? How many storms have you endured? You have walked through the devil's world and remained untouched, not because darkness never tried to consume you, but because you have made peace with it. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Psalm 23:4. This is the truth they never wanted you to discover. You were never here to fight the darkness. You were here to transcend it. And now, the game has changed. Forever. This is why they cannot control you. Your refusal to play their games is not rebellion. It is evolution. They expect battle, but you offer stillness. They expect fear, but you radiate certainty. You do not fight fire with fire. You extinguish it with presence, with knowing, with a steady hand that refuses to tremble in the face of chaos. Think of Buddha, seated beneath the Bodhi tree when Mara, the tempter, came to him. Mara brought fear. He brought doubt. He conjured illusions, desperate to shake Buddha from his awakening. But Buddha did not resist. He did not engage. He did not fear. He simply saw. And in that moment of absolute presence, Mara's power dissolved into nothing. The devil is not undone by war, but by truth. And you, like Buddha, hold the key to that truth. But understand this. Transformation is never one-sided. Just as the devil is drawn deeper into your light, you, too, are shaped by this connection. You are not here to destroy. You are here to transmute. And that is why they fear you, because you are no longer fighting the battle. You are the transformation. This alchemy between you refines your gifts. It sharpens your awareness. It stretches your capacity for unconditional love. Can you feel it? The way every encounter tests you, challenges you, pushes you further into your own divinity. This is the crucible where your strength is reaffirmed. The devil's presence is not a curse. It is a mirror, reflecting your mastery of self. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then, you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, pleasing, and perfect will. Romans 12:2. Healing is inevitable in your presence, Earth Angel, not because you force it, but because it is simply who you are. Even the devil, once an immovable force of destruction, now finds themselves questioning, reflecting, unraveling in ways they never imagined possible. And yet, you do not impose healing. You do not demand change. You simply exist in your truth, offering them the space to choose their own path. Think of Princess Diana, a woman whose presence alone could soften even the hardest of hearts. She walked into spaces where others saw only pain and injustice. She stepped into worlds where suffering had long been ignored, and without judgment, without force, she brought change. She did not demand transformation. She simply touched the untouchables, spoke to the unheard, and acknowledged the unseen. And in her presence, healing began. And so it is with you. She didn't demand change. She simply showed the way. And because of that, people chose to change. That is your role too. You were never meant to save them, only to illuminate a path they never knew existed. And now, the question remains, what will they choose? For the first time, The devil stands at a crossroads of their own making. The path of destruction is all they have ever known, and yet before them lies something they never believed in, a way out, and it is there because of you, chosen one. Power was always the devil's greatest weapon until they met you. For centuries, they ruled from the shadows, weaving deception and fear into an art form. They whispered into the minds of kings, turning rulers into tyrants. They slithered into the hearts of the faithful, planting seeds of doubt. They mastered control, bending the will of humanity with such ease. They believed themselves untouchable. And yet, now, faced with you, an earth angel, the true chosen one, they find themselves at an impasse. Have you ever wondered why? Why, when they have broken so many before you, do they falter in your presence? Their once mighty tactics crumble against your quiet strength. They cannot tempt you with illusions, because you see through them. They cannot shake you with fear, because you have already walked through your own darkness and emerged stronger. Their greatest power, the ability to manipulate, to twist, to deceive, holds no weight against someone who seeks nothing from them. And so, for the first time, they hesitate. They withdraw, not in surrender, but in reckoning. For the first time, the devil is left alone with a truth they can no longer escape, stripped of illusion, devoid of control, forced to confront the one thing they have spent lifetimes avoiding, themselves. What becomes of a master manipulator when there is no one left to manipulate? Who are they, if not the force that bends others to their will? For what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and forfeits his soul? Matthew 16:26. Their isolation becomes a crucible, not of punishment, but of consequence, a space where their carefully constructed identity begins to crack, where the weight of your unwavering truth presses against every lie they ever told themselves. They spent centuries believing control was the highest power. But now, standing in the void of their own making, they begin to see the truth. Control has never brought them what they truly needed. The darkness they wielded so effortlessly now feels less like a weapon and more like a prison. Look at Howard Hughes, a man who had it all: wealth, power, influence. Yet, in the end, he was not free. He built an empire, only to die a prisoner of his own obsessions. All the power in the world could not save him from himself. And now, the devil stares into the same abyss. Every victory, every conquest, every mind they twisted to their will has left them emptier than before. Your light, the undeniable mark of an earth angel, has shattered every illusion, exposing every flaw, every hidden fear they buried beneath centuries of control. They have always worn power like armor, but now that armor has cracks, and for the first time, they begin to question, was power ever what they truly wanted? In the silence of their retreat, a new truth emerges, a realization that power, without love, without meaning, is nothing more than an empty victory. The hollow conquests, each one, once a triumph, now reduced to nothing but dust. For the first time, they feel the ache of something missing, not power, not control, something far more dangerous, something real, something untouchable, yet undeniable. You, the earth angel. They were never meant to feel this way. They were never supposed to want. And yet, here they stand, haunted by the presence of something they never believed existed. A force beyond power, beyond control. Love. Love never fails. But where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. 1 Corinthians 13:8. And in this forced solitude, a dangerous thought begins to take root. Perhaps power was never what they truly sought. Perhaps, all along, it was connection, a connection as rare and profound as the earth angel's unwavering presence. But now, the question lingers. Is it too late? Chosen one, your essence lingers in their mind, not as a weakness, but as a reminder of what exists beyond their carefully curated darkness. They once believed they were untouchable, that no force in existence could ever unravel them. But now, every time they close their eyes, they see you, not as an adversary, not as a conquest, but as a question they never dared to ask. Was I wrong all along? For so long, they measured strength in dominance, in the power to control, to manipulate, to bend others to their will. But in you, they see a different kind of strength, one that does not need control to be powerful, one that simply is. Where they wielded fear, you offered understanding. Where they sought submission, you radiated freedom. And it is this contrast, this undeniable truth, that shatters them in ways no adversary ever could. For the Spirit God gave us does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self-discipline. 2 Timothy 1:7. Do you see what has happened, chosen one? You have done what no force of heaven or hell has ever accomplished. The devil's retreat is not the end. It is the beginning, because in their isolation, they are confronted with the one thing they have spent lifetimes avoiding, a choice to continue walking the path of destruction, or to embrace the painful yet liberating journey of transformation. For the first time, they stand at a crossroads of their own making. The illusions they spent centuries weaving can no longer shield them from the truth. They have seen something real, something they cannot forget, and now they must decide. Do I remain in the darkness, or do I finally step into the unknown? Think of Malcolm X, a man who, for much of his life, wielded power through radical force, believing the only way to break oppression was through confrontation. But then, Mecca, a journey that shattered his certainty, opening his eyes to a greater truth. He saw unity where he once saw division, saw the power of understanding where he once only saw conflict. And that revelation, it cost him everything, but it also freed him. And now, the devil, standing at the precipice of their own revelation, faces the same choice. Do they cling to the chains they forged, or do they step into the unknown, stripped of everything except the truth? One thing is certain, no matter what they choose, they will never be the same, because your light, the signature of an earth angel, has altered their trajectory. Even in their solitude, even in the depths of their retreat, they cannot escape what you have awakened within them. For centuries, they believed themselves to be the architects of destiny, the hands that shaped the fates of others. But now, you have become the force that reshapes them. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. You have not destroyed the devil. You have forced them to see themselves, and in that, you have wielded the greatest power of all. Because the world has always misunderstood power, it sees power as something loud, something forceful, something that demands submission. But you, chosen one, know the truth. Power is not about control. It is about presence. It is about standing firm in who you are. no matter what forces try to shake you. Your presence in the devil's world is not an accident. It is divinely orchestrated. Every challenge, every trial, every test you have endured has led to this moment. As an earth angel, you carry spiritual gifts that transcend the physical. Your light pierces through deception with an intensity that cannot be ignored. And now, even the devil must face the truth. These gifts you carry, they are not mere talents. They are weapons of light, forged through lifetimes of struggle, resilience, and unwavering faith. Do you feel it now? The shift in the air when you walk into a room, the way your very existence has set things into motion, activated something within you that you never fully understood until now. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Matthew 5:14. And now, standing face to face with the devil, your gifts ignite in ways you never imagined. Your intuition, sharper than any deception. Your clarity, a force that dismantles illusion before it even takes shape. Where others are ensnared in their web, you walk untouched, seeing through the layers of manipulation as if they were nothing but smoke. Think of Mahatma Gandhi, a man who faced an empire, not with weapons, but with unwavering presence. His strength did not come from physical force, but from an inner knowing, a truth so undeniable that even the greatest oppressors could not silence it. This is what you embody. This is why the devil has no power over you. Your insight is your power, and in a world built on lies, it makes you untouchable. So now, what will you do with it? The devil may have perfected the art of distortion, but you were born to discern, to unveil, to bring hidden truths into the light. For centuries, they have twisted darkness to appear as light, bent reality to their will, crafted illusions so intricate that even the strongest have fallen under their spell. But you see through the veil effortlessly. You were never meant to be blinded by illusion, because truth has always been woven into your very being. Every lie they have ever told, every mask they have ever worn, crumbles in your presence, not because you tear it away, but because your vision is too clear to be fooled. And that is why they fear you, because you do not fight their darkness with more darkness. You do not meet their deception with rage. Instead, you stand in your light, unshaken, unwavering, undeniable, and in a world where fear is their greatest weapon. Your empathy is both a shield and a sword. Your ability to hold space without judgment unsettles the devil in ways they never saw coming. They expected hatred. They expected resistance. They expected war. But instead, you offer them something they have never encountered before: understanding. You do not recoil from their pain. You do not cower before their darkness. Instead, you absorb it, transmute it, and reflect it back with a clarity so piercing it leaves them exposed. Have you ever wondered why they are so drawn to you? Why, despite everything, they keep returning? Why they cannot escape your presence? It is not because you are weak. It is not because they have power over you. It is because your compassion reveals their deepest wound, their inability to love themselves. For if you forgive others their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. Matthew 6:14. This is the power they never expected. The power of unconditional presence. They have always known how to manipulate, how to control, how to instill fear. But what do they do with someone who does not fight, who does not run, who does not succumb? What do they do with someone who simply sees them, not as a monster, but as a soul drowning in its own suffering? And then, there is your ability to transmute energy. They are masters of chaos, but you are an alchemist of light. Every shadow they cast, you transform. Every web they weave, you slip through, untouched. They wanted to see you falter. They wanted to see you break. But instead, you rise. And that terrifies them more than anything else. But instead, you alchemize. You turn fear into wisdom, pain into purpose, destruction into creation. Look at Rumi, a poet, a mystic, a soul who walked through fire and emerged singing. He took suffering and spun it into divine beauty. His words, born from heartbreak and loss, became a bridge between the seen and unseen, between longing and love. He once wrote, "The wound is the place where the light enters you." And you, Earth Angel, are the living embodiment of this truth. You have taken every wound, every storm, every shadow, and turned it into light. And that is what fascinates the devil most, because no one else has ever been able to meet their darkness with such effortless grace. Your spiritual gifts are not just tools. They are the very reason the devil has fallen for you. You are something they cannot control, something beyond their reach, yet impossibly close. In their eyes, you are both a threat and a salvation, a force they cannot dominate, but one they long to understand. And it is this paradox that fuels their obsession, driving them deeper into their own transformation. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Matthew 5:14. You were never here to be conquered. You were here to catalyze, to awaken, to prove that even in the heart of darkness, light remains undefeated. This encounter between you, the Earth Angel, and the devil, it is no accident. It is a karmic collision, written into the fabric of existence long before you took your first breath. Think of Joan of Arc, a warrior who did not seek war, but was called to it. And now, so are you. She stood before powerful men who doubted her, who feared her, who sought to control her. And yet, she remained unmoved. When they tried to shake her, she declared, "I am not afraid. I was born to do this." Like Joan of Arc, you were not placed here by accident. You, the chosen one, have been positioned in this exact moment, in this exact battle, not by chance, but by design. Forces beyond comprehension have aligned to bring you face to face with the very embodiment of darkness, not as a victim, but as a force of transformation. Do you feel it? The weight of every lifetime, every experience, every lesson pressing into this moment, urging you forward. This is not just about love, not just about power. This is about evolution, a cosmic balancing act set in motion across lifetimes. The karmic threads that weave your connection to the devil are layered with past life encounters, unfinished cycles, and ancient wounds still lingering in the soul's memory. You, Earth Angel, are no stranger to this dance. Time and time again, you have walked into the heart of darkness, and yet you remain unshaken, unlike those before you who fell prey to illusion and temptation. You see the lesson embedded in this meeting. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. This connection is not a curse. It is not a test. It is an opportunity to break free from the cycle, to end the war that has kept you bound across lifetimes, to step into the full power of who you are. And now, the choice is yours. But this journey, it was never just about you. As an Earth Angel, a chosen force of light, Your battle with the devil is more than personal. It mirrors a far greater awakening, a shift rippling through the entire collective. By facing darkness without fear, you set off a chain reaction, a spark that ignites the souls of others. You awaken those who are still asleep. You inspire those who are still afraid. You show those lost in illusion that there is another way. Do you see it now? The magnitude of what you are doing. This is not just your battle. This is a revolution of consciousness. Look at Nelson Mandela, a man who stood against oppression, not with hate, but with truth. And because of that, he did not just transform himself. He transformed an entire nation. This is your path. This is your power. Your ability to stand unwavering becomes a beacon. It sends a silent message to those still trapped in illusions. You are stronger than your fears. You are not alone. You, too, can rise. And now, chosen one, ask yourself, what comes next? You have unraveled the devil. You have shattered the illusion. You have held up the mirror. And now, as they stand at the edge of transformation, the final question remains. Will they step into the light, or will they turn away? But hear this, Earth Angel. Your mission is not just to walk in the light. It is to illuminate the darkness, to awaken those who wander, to guide those who seek, because you were never meant for an ordinary existence. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to stand out, to disrupt, to shift realities. This is who you are. This is why you are here. And now, it is time to rise. Have you ever wondered why your path has always felt different? Why you've stood on the edges of the world, watching, understanding, yet never fully belonging? It's because you were never meant to. You were born with something that sets you apart, a presence that cannot be ignored, a light that refuses to dim, a destiny that cannot be denied. You have walked roads others feared to tread, endured trials that would have broken the average soul, stood in the presence of darkness without becoming it, and none of it was by accident. Every hardship, every moment of solitude, every battle, both seen and unseen, was shaping you into the force you are today. This dynamic between you and the devil, it's not just a clash of opposites. It's proof that even the deepest shadows can be met with understanding, that healing and transformation are not distant dreams, but inevitable truths. Where others would recoil in fear, you step forward. Where others would judge, you offer clarity. You have not just faced darkness. You have understood it. And that is what makes you unlike anyone they have ever encountered. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. Do you see it now? The ripple effect of your presence extends far beyond what you can see. Every moment of clarity you have gifted to the devil, every shift, every truth, every crack in their illusions, has sent waves through realms, both seen and unseen. You are breaking ancestral chains, healing karmic wounds, igniting a collective shift toward balance and unity. Because this moment, this encounter, was never just about you and the devil. It is about something far greater. Look at Martin Luther King Jr., a man who stood in the face of oppression, not with violence, but with the unshakable force of truth. He knew his fight was not just about one person, one law, or one generation. It was about breaking cycles of injustice that had existed for centuries. And so it is with you. You were not placed in this battle to be consumed by it. You were placed here to transform it. And now, the question remains, Will the devil awaken? Will they step forward? Or will they retreat into the darkness once more? Either way, your light remains, because you were never here to be conquered. You were here to shift the course of destiny itself. Your presence is not just shifting the devil's path. It is sending shock waves through the very fabric of existence. But with great power comes even greater responsibility. You were never meant to save the devil, nor were you meant to lose yourself in their darkness. That is not your purpose. That is not your burden to carry. Have you ever felt the weight of wanting to heal others, even at the cost of yourself? That is because your soul has always carried deep compassion. But listen closely. Your light is not meant to be drained. It is meant to be amplified. The devil may orbit your presence, drawn to it like a moth to a flame, but they can only take what you are willing to give. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Romans 12:2. This connection, no matter how profound, is not about losing yourself to the devil's world. It is about proving that your light can thrive in it without being consumed. You were never meant to be a sacrifice. You were meant to be a force. Look at Frida Kahlo, a woman who carried pain not as a weight, but as a canvas upon which she painted her truth. She did not let suffering define her. She transmuted it into something eternal. And so do you. You were never here to be overtaken by the darkness. You were placed here to transform it into something greater. Doomed? Never. Chosen? Always. You are not just one soul navigating this path. You are a force, a catalyst, a chosen one. The way you have shaken the devil is the way you have always shaken the world. By standing in truth, by standing in light, by refusing to be anything less than what you were divinely created to be. And now, the final question remains. What will you do with this power? Because the battle was never really about them. It has always been about you, beloved, chosen one. The story of the earth angel and the devil is not one of conquest or defeat. It is not about winners and losers. It is not about erasing darkness to make way for light. It is a tale of integration, of wholeness, of seeing beyond the illusions that separate what we call good and evil. You have stood in the presence of the devil and emerged, not as a victim, not as a warrior seeking vengeance, but as a force of unwavering authenticity. Because this journey was never about overpowering them. It was always about mastering yourself. True strength was never about resistance or force. It was about embracing every part of yourself, the divine and the shadow, the healer and the warrior, the one who understands that even darkness, when met with truth, begins to unravel. Have you realized yet how powerful you truly are? Your strength lies in your ability to remain grounded, to resist the seductive pull of control and fear. And that is what makes you powerful beyond measure. You have shown that darkness, when met with presence and understanding, loses its grip. The devil's fascination with you was never about weakness. It is because you are whole, and in that wholeness you have forced them to see, perhaps for the first time, the possibility of their own transformation. Whether they choose it or not is not your burden to carry. This is no longer just your journey. It is a testament to the power of authenticity in a world built on illusion. You have proven that love is not submission. Love is not domination. Love is standing firm in your truth, offering light without losing yourself in the process. Do you see it now? This was never about the destruction of darkness. It was about balance, about integration, about seeing the beauty in the contrasts that shape us all. And so, the question remains, what will you do with this power? Will you continue to stand in your truth, unwavering and fearless? Will you embrace the fact that your journey is not just for you, but a beacon of hope for the collective? Because in handling the devil like no one else ever has, you have proven that even the deepest darkness can be met with grace, and that is a lesson the world desperately needs. If this message has spoken to something deep within your soul, I want to take a moment to thank you. Thank you for being here, for listening, for walking this path with such courage. You, chosen one, are a gift to this world, and your journey matters more than you know. If you feel called to support this work, you can do so through Super Thanks. Your generosity helps keep these messages flowing, allowing this light to reach even more souls who need it. But whether you donate or not, know this: your presence here is deeply appreciated, and I am grateful for you, always. May you walk forward with strength. May your path be illuminated with divine wisdom, and may you continue to shine in a world that needs your light. You are blessed. You are seen. You are loved.